Have you ever noticed that tires have hair? Run your hand along a brand new tire and you'll feel them. Tiny rubber strands sticking out like unshaved stubble or strange little whiskers. They look random, almost like something went wrong. Are they part of the design? Do they improve grip or performance? Or are they just leftover defects from the factory? The truth is, these tiny hairs are not as meaningless as they seem. In fact, they point to something much bigger, how a tire is actually made. And to understand that, we need to go back to where tires first began. Long before tires became the complex machines we rely on today, they were surprisingly simple. In 1888, John Boyd Dunlop introduced the first practical pneumatic tire, originally designed for bicycles. Instead of solid rubber wheels, his design used air-filled rubber, making rides dramatically smoother and more comfortable. As automobiles began to appear, this idea quickly became essential. Cars were heavier, faster, and far more demanding than bicycles. Solid rubber could no longer handle the stress. Tires had to evolve, not just to survive the weight, but to provide stability, durability, and control at higher speeds. This is where companies like Goodyear and Michelin stepped in. Over time, tires transformed from basic rubber rings into carefully engineered structures. Layers were added, fabric cords for flexibility, steel belts for strength, and specialized rubber compounds for grip and wear resistance. Each layer served a precise purpose, working together to handle heat, pressure, and constant friction with the road. At this point, a tire was no longer just rubber. It became a highly engineered product, built with precision and designed to perform under extreme conditions. But as tire design became more advanced, even the smallest details started to matter. One overlooked problem, trapped air during manufacturing, could ruin the entire structure. And solving that problem is exactly where those tiny rubber hairs begin to appear. To understand what's really happening, imagine a tire like a layered sandwich. The inside layer, called the inner liner, acts like a balloon. It keeps the air from leaking out. Around it are strong layers of fabric and steel, giving the tire its strength so it can carry heavy weight without breaking. On the outside is the thick rubber you see, designed to grip the road. At this stage, the tire is still soft. It hasn't been hardened yet. This unfinished version is called a green tire. Now comes the important part. The green tire is placed inside a metal mold shaped exactly like the final tire. Then hot air or steam is pumped inside, pushing the soft rubber outward, pressing it tightly against the mold walls. At the same time, heat, around 150 to 180 degrees Celsius, cooks the rubber. This process is called vulcanization, discovered by Charles Goodyear. It turns sticky, soft rubber into something strong, flexible, and durable. But here's the problem. As the rubber expands and presses into every corner of the mold, air gets trapped between the rubber and the metal surface. If that air has nowhere to go, it forms bubbles inside the tire, and those bubbles can weaken the structure, making the tire unsafe. So engineers needed a way to let that trapped air escape, and that's exactly where the story takes a turn. To solve the problem of trapped air, engineers designed tiny holes inside the tire mold. These are called vent holes. Think of them like small escape paths. When the rubber is being pressed into the mold, any air or gas inside needs a way out. These holes allow that air to escape, preventing bubbles from forming inside the tire. Without them, the tire could end up weak or uneven. Now here's what happens during the process. The rubber is pushed outward with very high pressure, filling every detail of the mold. But the vent holes are extremely small, so small that not only air escapes, but a tiny amount of soft rubber also gets squeezed into them, just like when you press the dough and it turns out to be small pieces. When the tire finishes cooking and is removed from the mold, that extra rubber is no longer needed. But it doesn't fall off. It stays attached to the surface as thin, hair-like strands. Those are the tiny hairs you see. They are called vent spews, sometimes also known as tire whiskers or nubs. They are not added on purpose. They are simply leftover rubber that filled the vent holes during manufacturing. So every time you see those little strands on a new tire, what you're really looking at is a trace of how the tire was made. But this leads to a more important question. If they exist for a reason during production, do they actually do anything once the tire is on the road? So do these tiny hairs actually do anything once the tire is on the road? The short answer is no. They don't have any real function after the tire is made. They don't improve grip. They don't help with braking. And they don't measure tread wear. They are simply leftover rubber from the manufacturing process. That's also why they disappear so quickly. These strands are extremely thin and fragile. The moment the tire starts rolling on the road, friction begins to wear them down. Within just a few kilometers of driving, most of them are already gone. Some people see these hairs as a sign that the tire is brand new. And while that can be true, it's not always reliable. A tire that has been sitting in storage for a long time can still have these strands intact. If you really want to know how old a tire is, the better way is to check the DOT code printed on the sidewall. This code includes a 4-digit number that tells you the week and year the tire was made. Now, here's another question. If these hairs serve no purpose, why don't manufacturers just remove them? The reason is simple. A single tire can have dozens, sometimes hundreds of these tiny strands. Removing them would require extra time, labor, or machines, raising production costs. Since they don't affect safety or performance, it's more efficient to just leave them. And because of that, a lot of misconceptions have started to spread. Over time, a lot of myths have formed around these tiny hairs. Some people believe they improve grip during the first few drives. That's not true. They are too small and too soft to make any difference. Others think they help reduce noise. Again, that's incorrect. Tire noise depends on tread design and road surface, not these thin strands. There's also a common idea that cutting them off will improve performance. It won't. Removing them early changes nothing about how the tire behaves. The reality is much simpler. These hairs are just traces of the manufacturing process. Nothing more. They are the leftover result of air escaping during molding, evidence of how the tire was formed. But that small detail points to something much bigger. Behind every tire is over a century of engineering, refinement, and problem-solving. From early air-filled designs to modern multi-layer construction, every part of a tire is carefully built to handle speed, weight, and pressure. And these tiny strands are a quiet reminder of that complexity. Now imagine a brand new tire rolling onto the road for the first time. As it moves, those thin strands begin to disappear, slowly worn away by contact with the ground. And just like that, they're gone. But next time you see them, you won't ignore them, because sometimes the smallest details reveal the biggest stories.